Good evening, my fellow YouTube Tarkovians, you beautiful people. Today, we are going to take care of a long-awaited video. That is where all of the stashes are on Lighthouse. So this will be broken up into, I guess, stash locations. On the map, there are 17 stashes that I know of. There might end up being more that get discovered, but as far as I'm aware, there are 17. Through the course of this, and the thunder up above, we're going to end up running this probably in two segments, with the water treatment plant on the northern end, and then obviously the rest of the map on the southern end. There is kind of a split between the northern half of the map and its stashes, and then the southern half and its stashes. And since we spawned in the village, and this is right on the river, we're going to kind of include this area as the northern section of the map, and start with the half on the northern half, north of the river, kind of heading toward the northern exit. So, I guess, strap yourselves in, and we'll begin. Okay, now I want to make sure that I don't end up making any jump cuts as best I can, because I know it's kind of hard to track whenever something like that happens. Okay, I know I said I wasn't going to do any jump cuts, but I lied, and I'm sorry. I'm going to orient you guys to where we are, just so that everybody knows. All right, so this is the village right down here that has, like, the hillside house on it and all of the scavs, and then this is kind of like that broken down little scav town, and then there's the bridge that would go across into the water treatment plant over there. If we're heading north on the eastern side of the map, this being the wall, the map border for shoreline, the first stash on this half of the map is actually right along this wall. So I want to make sure that we go over here and get this one first, which is actually really easy to find. So if you were to run way up in the woods up here above the village, you want to look for this wall. And then all you're going to do is circle around the backside of this rock right here. And it's found right there. Okay? Now, again, we're running this in offline mode, so it's not going to be something that we end up focusing on, like, so far as what loot is in it. We all are familiar with what's inside of stashes, I think, at this point. But as a quick refresher, if you guys need to know, there's all things like body armor and helmets, including high-end stuff like slicks, and there's guns and all kinds of great stuff that spawns in them. You can even find Bitcoin and whatnot. So they're definitely worth looting if you come across one, or there are people that would focus them on loot runs. And this is definitely something that you can focus on a loot run because, quite frankly, especially in this area, no one ever runs up here unless they're trying to farm stashes. Let's be honest. Okay, so from here, you're just going to kind of keep continuing along. And right in here, where this rocky outcrop is, it's going to be right over to the right. So this little, like, finger of rock that comes out, it's going to be, like, kind of, like, right in the curve of this little crook right here. Just right there. Boom. Okay, that's stash number 2. Now, stash number 3 is actually going to be just south of the car extract. So we're going to run all the way over to where the car extract is-ish, and I will show you where you can find the next one. Okay, so a lot of people don't really know about this. Right down over there on the other side of that set of rocks is a hill that goes down to where the car extract is, and there's this nice little lake up here on the top. All you have to do is run around this lake a bit. Right over in here, right in the front of this rocky outcrop right over here, up in the tall grass, you're going to hit this rock right here. You're going to look for the tree that's really, really close to the rock, and it's going to be right next to, in front of, that tree right here. So just in front of the tree. Now the next couple, if you are an aggroed USEC, meaning that you've shot at or killed one of the rogues in the last, I don't know, couple of raids, or if you are a bear, you're probably going to have a hard time getting to the next couple because they're pretty close to the USEC base. Or the, I guess, ex-USEC base. Now, once you get all the way over here, there actually aren't any landmines, so we should be able to just run up and approach this. But what you want to do is right here off of these burning tires, you're going to take a left, and you're going to head down this way until you see a pipe. It's kind of like laying on the ground. Right over there, that big pipe. You're going to run over here, And right underneath the pipe is the next stash. From here, we're actually going to run over the road and over inside of the train yard. Now again, to reiterate, if you are trying to get inside of the train yard as an aggroed PMC or an aggroed scav, you're not going to have a real easy time if you're trying to go down this road because of all of the very obvious vantage points that the rogues will have on the roof. So my recommendation to you in this case would be to not take this route and go along the beach instead if you are trying to get over to this half of the map and work the stashes around in the opposite order. That would probably be much more beneficial to you. The very first stash is actually located right over here in the very corner of the yard. And just as a side note, there are some really, really great attachments that spawn right here in this oil spot, or whatever it is that you want to call it, on top of this corner, and obviously this little box. And if you're looking to be a little bit cheeky, right up here is a really, really great sniper spot. You can see, you can lay prone here, if I can get the spot. You can lay prone here using a scope and see all the way down the road into the gate, and you can snipe your days out. But anyway, the stash is right here in the corner. From here, we're going to run all the way back toward the fence at the very northern end of this industrial area. Now, depending on where you're coming from, what you want to look for is actually this wagon. There's a little dirt path. You'll know you have the right one when you can see this little dirt path. You can see this trailer right here. Okay? There's a little horseshoe between these bushes, this tree, and this set of bushes that goes around like this. You want to go into the middle of the horseshoe. Okay? See how we're right in the middle of the horseshoe right here? Right? And the stash is actually right here under your feet, right next to the barbed wire fence. Okay, continuing our journey. Now what we want to do is leave the train yard. We're going to do that by running all the way down into the opposite corner. Again, trying to avoid the rogues if you are aggro, because even all the way back here, if they get a sight line, they will shoot at you. We're going to leave through this breach in the wall over here on the side and head down toward the beach. And once again, if you are running stashes and you're trying to get out, this is your northern checkpoint extract right here. But if you're looking for another quick piece of loot, all you have to do is run down along this this rocky outcrop right here, this set of rocks. You're going to go down a little bit further along these rocks. And I believe it's this rock here that's jutting out. Yeah, right here. So for a quick point of reference, if you're on this road, okay, you're going to look for this orange road cone, this first one, the one that's like the northernmost orange road cone, okay, next to this light pole. It's going to be these two rocks right here next to the orange road cone. And there's your stash. Okay, from here, we're actually going to go down onto the beach. So that is the last point that you're going to have that's at risk for getting shot at by rogues, if you're kind of keeping notes. Now, along the way down here, there actually is a little bit of a loot spawn or two, kind of on the edge of the beach. Okay, so point of reference, there's this water pipe, driftwood, and then off of the driftwood, right along this bush right here, look for this little bush. It's right here, kind of in line with the two pieces of driftwood. So you got driftwood, kind of make a line across. It's like right here, next to it. All right? All right, moving on. The next one is at the grotto, so that's where we're going to run. Okay, so now there's the grotto where you do the pass-through, obviously. But we're not actually looking to go in it. We're actually looking to go around it. So as we come around right here, there's like these rocks, right? We come around right here, these rocks, and then you see like this outcrop, and there it is right here, sticking out plain as day. And that is every single one of the points on the northern side of the river. Okay. So in the last raid, it actually started getting pretty dark, and there was a thunderstorm going on, and you couldn't really see much of anything, and it started turning black and white, so we decided we were just going to restart the raid instance, so that way you guys can kind of see what's going on. if we're going to orient ourselves, this is obviously the highway that runs along north-south on Lighthouse. And then there's this Pride Rock, if you want to think about it that way. You know, just imagine Simba kind of chilling up there, roaring his little teeny heart out before a orangutan eats him off the side of the cliff or whatever. There actually isn't any stashes on this parallel, kind of going east-west. There's nothing here. So we actually need to go a little bit further. This hill here, Pride Rock, actually has a little cousin kind of down here. We're going to run over onto the top of that hill because that's where our first stash is. And if you're keeping track, as I said, there's 17 total. There were 9 on the northern half of the map. There are 8 on the southern half, and this will be the first of 8. But again, we're going to go all the way up to the top of this hill, kind of where this cluster of trees is, all the way up at the top. There's this little grassy area. Well, we'll say hi to Rick right here. He's a shy pooper. But all the way up at the top here, right here in this corner, is the first stash. So if you want to orient yourself, you kind of come all the way up on the hill, and you just follow the rock around. Is probably the easiest way to do it. Just kind of like follow this rocky border until you end up seeing the stash. Eventually, you'll find it right here. Okay, from here, we're actually going to run down to the hideout, the scav hideout, where the extract is for scavs underneath the building. There's a stash down there, too. Now that we're under here, as you can see, we're underneath the building. You're just going to head right toward the center. Right here, and nestled among the rocks is a stash. From here, we're going to obviously get out from under the building. And we're going to end up heading further south into a nice little grassy spot. Not too far away. Sometimes they're a little bit confusing. Trying to remember them all, you know? Oh, yeah. Okay. So to orient yourself, there's these rundown shacks, and then there's kind of like this long sloping hill that kind of comes all the way up, okay? You're going to go all the way up this hill, and you're going to look for this little bush. It's the only little bush up here. Notice there's a bunch of, like, pine trees, and then, like, kind of in the middle, there's just this little bush. You go up to the top, and it's right here on the edge of this little bush. And then back down the hill we go, and we head further east. Sorry, I meant south. Over toward the Lighthouse driveway. Now from here, there's the Lighthouse driveway. Obviously, we can't go in, but there's all of these rocks right here, right? This little like Pac-Man looking rock right here. The first stash right here is actually around the corner from this rock. You just kind of follow it around. It's right here up at the top. In order to be able to loot this, you can kind of jiggle your way in if you're prone, just barely. I actually prefer to go prone and crawl up to it instead of crouching, but it's completely up to you. And then from here, there's a super easy one. All you do is crest this hill and you look for the island. It's like this little lone island kind of just chilling off by itself. You're just going to run over here onto the island, and there's a little stash right here. Right here. From here, we're going to run back up into the mountains. We're actually going to have to get way up on top of the hill here. And I believe you can get up, like kind of worming your way up the rock face right through here, so we'll just do that. It appears that wall's invisible, so we have to take the long way around, I guess. So you can see that, like, it comes up and around, and then you can see how this kind of cuts around along this little face here. So there's kind of like this tall bush, and then there's these smaller ones. We're looking for this right here. So it kind of goes all the way around and worms its way over to a little point, you know, kind of almost like a little hook topographically. So just kind of look for this tall bush, kind of sticking up, and then this smaller one right here next to it. Then from here, we're actually going to run over by the downed helicopter, which is this puff of smoke that's rising up into the air. We're just going to run straight over there. We'll try not to break our legs in the process. Okay, so if you're looking at the helicopter, you want to go west, and there's like a little like nook, kind of curls around, basically under my feet almost, right around from here. See how the grass kind of curls around like this? So it's actually all the way at the very tip of this grass. There's a stash right here. From here, we're gonna go back east, run up to the zone border on the eastern wall, and we're going to walk along the eastern wall because our last couple of stashes are right along the wall. Really, actually, it's our last stash. Come to think of it, there's only one left. You boys did it. We're almost done. This one's actually super easy, even though it seems like it's not on the surface. The easiest way to do it is to just look for this SUV. The one that's closest, there's two disabled SUVs. There's one that's further down the road as you like snake back and forth. When you go down and curve around, there's an SUV down here in the road, and then there's one right here before you get to red. All you're going to do is orient yourself to the passenger side door of this SUV right here, okay? You're just going to face the door handle, make an about pace, and go straight ahead. From this little rock right here that's sticking out like a little finger, you're just going to go around to the side, and it's right here under this little bush. And that's it. That's all 17 stashes on the map. I hope this guide was helpful. Thank you guys so much for coming and checking out my content. I'm live every single day on Twitch, starting at 7 to 8 a.m.-ish, Monday through Sunday. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.